So a couple months ago, my friend and I were driving down to Merriman, and as we were approaching Merriman, there was an older man with, he was wearing headphones and on his phone and kind of distracted, and we saw what we believed to be a cub, and it was charging him. Um, and so we stopped our car like in the middle of the road and we honked at him. He turned around and he like ran straight at our car, all frazzled, and he hopped in and asked for a ride, like at least far enough away from the bears. I'm not sure if the bear was trying to get at him or just running towards his mother, but it was a pretty frightening experience, I guess for the older man, not so much for me. I would say it was like a medium-sized bear. It was a little bigger than maybe a cub, but a little smaller than maybe the mom. It was fluffy and cute.
I was walking from the soccer field to where Rosetta's is, and then I see like a not medium-sized bear. I guess it was a smaller bear. I think a black bear, walking down the steps coming from Rosetta's. And this was the first bear that I had seen in Asheville. So I was kind of surprised that it was on campus, but I noticed it and it kind of startled me. So then it noticed me, and I guess that startled the bear. Yeah, and then I stood there for a little bit, just like looking at it, and it was looking at me, and I took out my phone and it like huffed at me. Like, I don't want to say it charged at me because it didn't like leap at me or anything, but yeah, it like took a step towards me and huffed. And that's when I got really scared. So I ran the other way. And when I turned the corner, there's the bear just running too. Not at me, but running. And it turned the corner rather than going into the field like I did. It was definitely a little bit frightening, but I feel like the more that I think about it and like the more that I look at it in retrospect, one, I wish I knew what you're supposed to do when you see a bear because I don't think I was supposed to run. And two, he was probably running because I was running. I don't think he was running to like get me. I think he was running because he was already scared. And then, he was probably thinking like, well, if they're running, then I should be running too.
Yeah, so I'm Dr. Graham Reynolds. I'm an associate professor of biology and I'm the director of the honors program. I'm a vertebrate biologist, so I study reptiles, amphibians, all kinds of things, both around here and in the Caribbean. So obviously we have bears on campus and, we see them with some regularity. They do come through. They're coming down from, Town Mountain and some of the areas around. If you see a bear on campus, give it space. It's okay for us to observe the bears from a distance, but the last thing you want to do is to get in their way of wherever it is they want to go. So make sure that you are thinking about where that bear is trying to go and that you're not getting in between it and where it wants to be. That's the best way to avoid any issues with bears. Also, you want to keep your distance. Bears do get nervous. These bears around here are called urban bears, so they are kind of habituated to people, but you definitely want to keep your distance because bears are wild animals and they can be dangerous. So best to give them plenty of space. If you find yourself close to a bear for whatever reason, the best thing you can do is to slowly move away. You want to keep facing it. Don't turn your back to it necessarily. And the reason is because you want to see what it's doing. So try to back away, give it as much space as possible. See if you can quickly figure out which direction it is the bear is trying to go and avoid that direction. That does happen sometimes. Sometimes you'll come around a tree or, if you're in the Botans or something and you might come around a corner and there's a bear there. So best thing to do, stop, back up. You can start by making noise, but don't act too threatening or feel like you're approaching the bear because that can make the bear nervous. Again, most of the bears around here, they've seen people before. They know sort of how they expect people to react. So if you react how a normal person would react, you should be okay. Back away, give them their space.
If a bear looks friendly, should you go pet it?
Well, bears are certainly adorable creatures, and we do love them, but you should never pet a bear. That will end badly for you. It will end badly for the bear too. because bears that become too habituated to people, they have to be either moved, relocated, or euthanized. So you could actually be doing a lot more harm to the bear than you might even realize.